So a couple of weeks ago, I took a stab at predicting every single NFL game's result for the 2023 season. And I came up with some surprising results. And just to give you some insight here, the whole method was I was looking at each individual game in isolation, which is always going to lead to some records probably being what they shouldn't. And what I mean by that, to simply illustrate this, if you're looking at the Kansas City Chiefs, they're a team that against almost any other team in the league, at least when they're healthy and when they have all their pieces, you're virtually never going to pick somebody else to beat the Chiefs. There might be a couple of examples where maybe you do, but for the most part, you're not going to pick them to lose. Likewise, if I were repicking today, I wouldn't take the Arizona Cardinals to beat literally anyone. But to be fair, I was picking these games before Colt McCoy was released, and the Cardinals already bad team got worse. Now, before we get started today with my terrible takes from these predictions, I do want to sort of solicit some expert opinions from the audience out there. What are some hot takes that you have about the upcoming NFL season that you think could actually pan out? Because the ones that I'm going to put out here, I don't think any of them are actually going to pan out, but I would be curious to hear about ones that you think have a real chance of actually happening. Let us know in those comments down below. With all that in mind, I came up with some really comical L's that I want to post here before the NFL season kicks off. So with that in mind, I have 5 of them that I found that are just kind of like really odd. The number 5 one is the Arizona Cardinals going 2-15. To be honest, I actually would be surprised at this point if they finish 2-15 or any better than that. I honestly think they might lose every single game. I legitimately would not pick them against any team in the league if I were repicking all those games right now. But I had them winning 2 games, so a little bit quirky, but I apparently think they're going to win 2 games. At least I did when I picked the games. I don't think that's the case anymore. I would hand one of those wins off to Houston, and I think maybe I had them beating the Rams once. But regardless, I don't think they'll win 2 games. Number 4 on the list is the NFC South being not just bad, but historically bad according to my predictions. My predictions had the NFC South having 2 teams with 2 wins or less. That being both the Falcons with 2 wins and the Panthers with 1 win. I don't actually think this is going to happen. To be clear about this, this is one of those quirks of you're picking every game in isolation. Really, all of these sort of oddities are from that as a point. But the Panthers are going to be a hard sell to be picked as winners in many games. And maybe they play well enough with new head coach, rookie quarterback, maybe they can put it together enough that they can start being favored in a couple of late season games against weaker opponents. But for the most part, I don't think anyone's picking the Panthers to win a ton of games, even though they're in a weak division. And now we get into the truly outlandish picks. And I know these are already outlandish, but number 3, the Seahawks, I have winning just 4 games. And this all revolved around the concept in my mind that the Seahawks, A, overachieved last year, B, Geno Smith regressing, C, them being in a very tough division, and D, the Rams actually getting at least a little bit back to what they were doing a couple of years ago and looking less like the dumpster fire they were last season. So if all those things coalesce and happen, maybe the Seahawks struggle to get close to 500. But again, I don't know that it's realistic to say they're only going to win 4 games like my predictions seem to indicate. The second thing now, down to the second most egregious thing that I found, the Giants, a playoff team, with a star young head coach, going 3-14. And again, this revolves around a couple of concepts. First off, super tough division. Secondly, it revolves around the Commanders actually being good this year, and maybe they are. And thirdly, it revolves around that idea, again, that the Giants may have actually overachieved last season. Now, I will say, if they get a couple of key injuries early in the season, they might struggle pretty mightily, pretty quickly. But once again, I don't think it's reasonable to expect for my prediction to actually pan out here. And then the number 1 thing that is just like wild and will absolutely not happen. But it happened on my predictions because they just had a super tough schedule. I don't really have all that much faith in Mac Jones, but I have the Patriots. In my predictions, I had them going 2-15. Yes, this is a major L on my part. I fully understand they're not going 2-15. Now, to be clear about this, I also don't think they are a playoff team, like at all. I think their division is way too tough. The AFC conference is way too tough. Again, I don't have much faith in their offense. And really, Bill Belichick, without Tom Brady in his head coaching career, has struggled to put in place really good football teams. Teams that we would look at and say, absolutely, they belong in the playoffs. That doesn't happen a whole lot when Tom Brady is on the equation here. And Tom Brady hasn't been there for a while now. So Bill Belichick is really being tested this season. I think he enters the season sort of on the hot seat, and I think if things go poorly early on, there's a very real chance this is the last season that we see Bill Belichick as the New England Patriots head coach. But stay tuned on that. Now, as far as them going 2-15, that's just not going to happen. So, of course, what do all of you think? What are some outlandish predictions that you think might actually come true? Let us know in those comments down below. Otherwise, like, share, subscribe, enjoy the NFL season, and stay tuned here for more content from the channel, and I'll see all of you in the next one.